All right. We are live. So it's been a rough day to try and get to this point. Because I tend to always error things. I had some errors trying to go live today. So yeah, it's been one of those days. But we wanted to talk. I wanted to talk about a little bit about Texas and what seems to be going on with them. And yeah, you'll probably hear me drinking something. Having a little Mike's Hard Lemonade because it's been one of those days. It's supposed to be my day off. So, if in case you haven't heard, due in large part to the Texas redistricting efforts, they have decided that it made the most sense to just flee the state. And that has led to, all kinds of threats and stuff. But if you're like me, you don't quite understand how it all works. But the FBI has been asked to help locate Texas House Democrats. One state lawmaker says officials would be breaking the law. The chair of the Texas House Democrat Caucus remained defiant Thursday in the face of one U.S. senator's bid to enlist the FBI's help in returning him and his state House colleagues to the state. Sure, if they don't follow the law, State Rep. Gene Wu told CNN's Pamela Brown on the Situation Room. When asked whether he was concerned the FBI would arrest him and his fellow Texas State House members. We know that the governor has no power outside of the state, and we know that the federal government cannot get involved in this unless there is a legal reason why they are allowed to get involved. Wu and dozens of Democrat state lawmakers remain outside of Texas as they continue their standoff with the Texas GOP over proposed changes to the state's congressional map that would favor Republicans. Earlier this week, State House Speaker Dustin Burrows signed civil arrest warrants for the absent Democrats and said law enforcement would need some time to work. The warrants empowered state troopers to arrest the absent Democrats and bring them to the Texas state capitol, but the Democrats fled to Illinois, New York, and Massachusetts. 3 Democratic-led states outside the Texas Law Enforcement Authority without state officials' cooperation. Without local officials' cooperation. Legal experts consulted by CNN said it's highly unlikely that Democratic lawmakers can be arrested outside state lines based on warrants. And that makes sense. They're not federal warrants. They're state level, I think even non-criminal warrants. Like, there's not really a whole lot they can do. Texas U.S. Senator John Cornyn, who is set up for re-election next year, said Thursday the FBI granted his request to federal assistance for state law enforcement as they work with Texas Republicans to bring back the lawmakers and reestablish quorum. So, somehow or another, they've convinced them that the FBI has the authority to get involved. And, you know, I you gotta understand, I voted Trump all 3 times. But I don't always follow MAGA on everything. A lot of MAGA Twitter are going, yeah, this is how it's done. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. You think it sounds sexy and you think it sounds cool, but that doesn't make it legal. I am proud to announce that Director Kash Patel has approved my request for the FBI to assist state and local law enforcement in locating runaway Texas House Democrats. Cornyn said in a statement, but he did not elaborate on what such assistance would entail. I mean, if they're really helping them, it doesn't seem like it would be that hard for them to find them. And I guess in a situation like this, cracking my knuckles. I don't know. Maybe it's something that it is something they can ask for federal assistance in. Like, we know when there's like homicides, we know they can ask assistance in situations like that. But this, I just don't know. I just don't. He later told conservative talk show host Mark Davis that Patel had assigned agents from the Bruce, Austin, and San Antonio offices to fulfill his request, though did not detail what role they would have. It's unclear to what extent agents are assisting Texas Republicans in the matter, and under what authority they would be allowed to do so. The FBI has declined multiple requests for comments from CNN on the matter. Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Attorney General Ken Paxton, who is challenging Cornyn in the Republican primary for U.S. Senate, have sought to ramp up the pressure on Democrats. Abbott told Fox News that he believes enough Democratic House members are currently in Texas for state law enforcement to find them and deliver them to the state capitol. We have a dragnet taking place as we speak right now across the entire state to locate and to bring to the capitol at least a dozen Democrats here in the state of Texas, as well as efforts we are undertaking in other states to bring these runaway Democrats back to our state, Abbott, a Republican, said. State lawmakers who have left the state have held multiple public press conferences and have made a number of media appearances. One location in Illinois where lawmakers were staying received a bomb threat earlier this week. So, see, if the FBI was actually doing anything, they're not hard to find. So I don't understand exactly how this is going to work and how it is exactly working. They could be working more at a local level and just being an extra body to help conduct searches and follow leads on where they might be. That could be all it is that they're really doing. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker told reporters that Republicans threatening law enforcement action were making an attempt to thwart democracy. So as far as I'm concerned, we're doing the right thing, and I'm proud of it, and I'm not going to back down. Pritzker, a Democrat, said at a press conference, we're going to do everything we can to protect these Texas House Democrats and to help them do what they're doing. Like, I guess I don't understand how that's something that's within your authority and within your right to do. Past DOJ refused to intervene. A similar instance occurred in 2003 when more than 50 members of the Texas legislature left the state to prevent a vote on a redistricting plan. The state officials reached out to federal agencies to find and bring back the lawmakers. But back then, President George W. Bush's Justice Department refused to assist, telling one congressman that they were not aware of any information pertinent to the Texas state legislature that would warrant action by federal law enforcement authorities, including those of the FBI. Accordingly, we have not deployed and have no plans to deploy our law enforcement resources in connection with this matter, the letter from then Assistant Attorney General William Moxella stated. And, I mean, it's not unusual. Again, like, I know that sometimes in like homicide investigations, kidnapping investigations, um, they someone within the state can reach out to the FBI for assistance. They'll have labs that maybe that jurisdiction does not have. They'll have extra officers, an extra just pair of hands to help sift through information, to help sift through tips, maybe do stuff like that. But this is this is kind of an unusual and unique issue. It's not, I guess to me, it's not something that represents a threat, a threat to individual members of the public. There's no physical threat to anyone's safety, I don't think, in what the Democrats are doing. It's just inconvenient and not allowing the legislator to address the needs of the people. In his initial request for FBI assistance, Cornyn suggested that the Democratic lawmakers could be violating the law if they are accepting funds to aid in their efforts to avoid their legislative duties and could be guilty of bribery or other public corruption offenses. No such charges have been filed related to their absence. Paxton on Thursday announced an investigation in the Texas Majority PAC founded by past campaign aides to former U.S. Rep. Beto O'Rourke, who was waiting for the absent Democrats' travel expenses and legal defense. Cornyn and Paxton are each trying to stake out an aggressive stance on the controversy in an attempt to woo conservative voters in their state. Cornyn said on Tuesday sent a letter to the FBI urging federal agency to assist law enforcement to locate or arrest potential lawbreakers who fled the state. I request the FBI's assistance as federal resources are necessary to locate the out-of-state Texas legislators who are potentially acting in violation of the law. The FBI has tools to aid state law enforcement when parties cross state lines, including to avoid testifying or fleeing a scene of crime. Paxton acknowledged on Fox News tonight that it would be difficult to arrest absent Democrats. He said Abbott have threatened to go to court and to vacate the offices of people who are currently outside the state. The challenge here is they go to liberal jurisdictions where we can't get help from law enforcement, so we have really very limited options, he said. One is to wait, which several governors have done, and just waited them out because eventually they have to come home. Or two, this motion or filing that has been done by Abbott, we're going to file something very similar for more of the legislature to take them out of their office, remove them from the office, because they're not showing up to do their job. This is a new thing. It's never been tried before, but we think it is a very good possibility of being successful. Abbott, for his part, warned that in Texas, there are consequences for your actions. Texas DPS and the FBI are tracking down the alleged Democrats. They will be taken directly to the Texas Capitol. He said on X, those who received benefits for skipping a vote face removal from office and potential bribery charges. I don't know. Let's share this tab instead. So this is about the FBI approving the request. I'm interested in seeing what else they may have done. Trying to make sure we're sharing the sound here. This is a 4-minute video that I'm wondering if we'll give us.
All right, changing gears to the latest on the political standoff in Texas. The state's attorney general is now investigating a political action committee run by Democrat Beto O'Rourke. It's called Powered by People. AG Ken Paxton says it is illegally paying for lawmakers to leave the state to derail a vote on a Republican redistricting plan. Lawmakers from both sides spoke with Major Garrett last night on The Takeout.
Well, our goal here is to defeat this particular special session. And as you know, the governor calls it for 30 days. And so we have towards the end of August to finish out this session. Special sessions are supposed to be just that, special. They're not supposed to be overtime plays for purely partisan gifts.
Not one Democrat has been stripped of their seniority, their committee assignments, their budgets, their staff. Hell, we haven't even taken away their parking spots yet. So no, I continue to call on the leadership, the Republican leadership in the state of Texas, to do what the voters of Texas want. In addition to the redistricting, they want more than just bold rhetoric. They want bold action.
All right, I want to bring in CBS News Texas reporter Trevor Sohaki. Trevor, thanks for coming on the show. We are hearing new information about the involvement of. Are we hearing new information about the involvement of the FBI?
Yeah, that's right, Tom. We're just getting this into our newsroom in the last hour or so. Now, this comes from Senator Cornyn here in Texas. He says that the FBI is now going to get involved with the search for those Texas House Democrats that left the state house earlier this week and are now holed up in places like Illinois, New York, Massachusetts. Earlier this week, Senator Cornyn called on the FBI. He asked the FBI director, Cass Patel,
the FBI doesn't seem to be doing much
to
because
help out with the location.
we know where they're at.
Bringing those Texas House Democrats back. We also heard from President Trump. President Trump said the FBI may get involved here because the issue at stake is that the Texas Department of Public Safety, you would know them as the Texas Rangers, their only authority, their jurisdiction is within the state of Texas. So as soon as these Texas House Democrats left the state of Texas, the Department of Public Safety can't do anything with that. They have to wait until the Democrats come back, and then they can bring them into Austin, into the Capitol, for that quorum that is needed to pass any bills to get those votes on. And so the senators, especially the Republican Senator Cornyn here, he asked the FBI to get involved. We're still not sure exactly what level of involvement the FBI is going to be in this case. Are they going to be going across state lines? Are they going to physically arrest these lawmakers and bring them back into Texas? Still working all that out, still reporting all this out. And I should mention as well, CBS News has reached out to the FBI for comment and has not heard back yet. But still, there's a very developing story just within the last hour or so.
Yeah, we're really trying to get to the bottom of all that gray territory that we find ourselves in. So, Trevor, break down this new investigation into Beto O'Rourke's PAC and how he's responding.
Yeah, so this comes from the Attorney General here, Attorney General Ken Paxton. He issued a request to examine. Basically, he wants to look at the documents and the communications from Beto O'Rourke's PAC, this political action committee, because all these Texas House Democrats we've been talking about, they left the state. But because they've left the state so many times during these special sessions in order to block Republicans, a few years back, Republicans made a new rule, a new law that says that these Democrats or anyone who leaves the state and prevents a quorum, they are fined $500 a day. So that is a steep fine that can easily accumulate over time. So these Democrats are now facing fines of $500 a day to whatever exponent that becomes as this special session.
I personally think that that's all that they can really do is idle. Now, whether or not it's illegal for people to help pay those fines, I just don't know. I just don't know.
Continues on. And so O'Rourke, he told us, he confirmed to us that his political action committee, his group, his team, they are helping out these Democrats with any monetary needs that they might have. Because not only is it the flights to Illinois and these other states, it's also living expenses out there. And of course, these fines, which just grow and grow every single day. Attorney General Ken Paxton, he says that this is bribery. He's accusing Beto O'Rourke and his team of bribery here. But of course, O'Rourke and his team have pushed back. They say they are simply trying to keep democracy alive. They're trying to keep democracy on the line. They call out what he says is irony for Attorney General Ken Paxton calling others out for bribery. Of course, a lot of back and forth here between the two sides.
Trevor Sohaki reporting for.
They don't care about democracy. Each side cares about keeping their own hold on power, in my opinion. And then if launching that investigation as a way to do it, then that's what they're going to do.
For us from Dallas, Texas. Say hi to all my friends at CBS News Texas over there. Thank you so much.
All right, let's see what else is going on here. really isn't much. Hmm. I want to see what Robert Gouveia is actually saying about this issue, because really none of the other law troopers that I follow are really covering it. But he appears to be.
And welcome back. We got some serious business to attend to today. Very glad that you're here and with us. We're going to start the day out with a quick preview, then we'll zoom in on further detail. But some exciting news. The FBI apparently now getting involved in the discovery and the tracking down of the fleeing cowardly Democrats. We got an update.
Again, it's not that hard for them to do. We basically know where they're at. So,
from John Cornyn.
What exactly are they doing?
And we got Ken Paxton, all of them coming out with new investigations, and apparently the FBI is getting involved. Cornyn is saying that they're looking into it and working with them. It comes in response to this letter that Cornyn sent over to them, which we'll take a look at and see what he was asking for. And then simultaneous with this, we got Ken Paxton, who's come out with a number of news releases. In fact, there was just another one he just dropped right now, which was the investigation into another George Soros operation. So he's looking at Beto, who's apparently flying these fleeing Democrats in and out of the state. And now they're getting looked into by the Attorney General. We're happy to see a Republican Attorney General act like an Attorney General for once. So that's good. We've got more. Now, one of the fleeing Democrats is Jasmine Crockett. You know her as Jasmine Crockett Fulop. She is apparently the worst boss ever. I know it's shocking to all of us. You're kidding, Rob. Are you sure, Rob? Yeah, it's true. There is a new exclusive from the New York Post. Apparently, they talked to 3 former staffers who are all talking garbage on Jasmine Crockett. So we'll see what they said. Now, the House in Texas is moving along. They had a vote, Senate Bill 4. We got a deadline tomorrow. The Texas Supreme Court ordered Jean Wu, one of the fleeing Democrats, to respond to this. And so we got a bunch of stuff that we'll get back to tomorrow on this. But the Senate in Texas is moving this thing forward. And we've got a lot of conversations about redistricting. Even Ron DeSantis is saying, we're getting in on this game, baby. And we're going to redistrict too. You want to have a little redistricting war? Florida wants to join in the game. So all that we'll zoom in on and see what's happening there. Then we've got our attention that is caught by another FBI announcement, which is these people, you're fired, get out. Brian Driscoll, former acting FBI director, you're gone. And Steve Jensen, another one. you're gone. Get out. You don't belong at the FBI because of your, in my opinion, corruption that we saw in the J6 cases. And we're going to read through one of these letters here from Brian. I believe it's from Brian. And these people are just hilarious. All right, so we'll read through it. He's just like, I'm so heroic. You're welcome for my service to you because I'm an amazing person. So anyways, they're all fired. And we've been waiting for this, okay? We've been wondering what the heck is going on with the FBI because we know that Pam Bondi did fire some people. We were waiting for Cash to do it, and here it is today. So thank you, Cash. All right, so we'll go through it. We've got Hans talking about this. We've got another update from the Federalist on just how bad the old FBI was and how they were covering up for the Democratic Party. We also saw this interesting story. There was the FBI, instead of tracking down J6ers and pro-lifers and parents at schools, they're actually going after soldiers who were charged with espionage. And I was trying to get more on this case to see what the complaint looked like. And it was not unsealed as of this morning. But this guy was apparently sending stuff over to the Russians. And so we'll go through it. Then we've got this one, which is pretty fun. This is a demand for sanctions. All right, so the backstory on this is that there was this attorney.
I don't really care about any of this.
And he was working pro bono on an immigration case. Remember, we were talking about all these lawyers crashing in, free lawyers, pro bono everything. Illegals get
it's all about what he's going to be talking about.
Money stipends. They get cell phones. They get
really
total human trafficking privileges, driver's license privileges, whatever they want. They also get free lawyers. And now the DOJ is saying this lawyer, Joshua Schroeder, should be sanctioned for his ridiculous filings and his frivolous arguments that he submitted.
Yeah, let's keep going, I guess.
In an immigration case, and we saw this, right? These immigration lawyers were going like crazy. They were just filing motions all over the place, like, democracy, judge, and all the judges were like, yeah, democracy, gangbang, MS-13 gangbangers. And then they were preventing them from doing anything to remove these people from our beloved country. So now the DOJ is saying this dude should be sanctioned, okay? And this is a pretty aggressive move from the DOJ, and this might have a little chilling effect on the overly frivolous immigration lawyers that are out there. So it's going to be a great stream, my friends. We're very glad that you're here and with us. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for subscribing to our channel. If you haven't already done that, we'd love to see you back here. We also have great members-only streams if you'd like to join us for those. We go live in the mornings. We do Saturday shows. We have an amazing members-only community, the best ever, and we'd love to have you join us. So come join us. We have after parties, and you can join on YouTube. Click the join button, and you'll get a little icon in the chat. And you can join on Locals, watchingthewatchers.locals.com.
Explain all of this to me in a way that's going to make sense.
And we'll see you on the next members-only stream. Thanks for supporting our show and our work here as well. We also now have business to attend to, starting with Texas.
Here we go.
Here's the latest. The FBI now getting involved in tracking down the fleeing cowardly Democrats who have absconded from Texas.
Why?
We got this update from Rena. She is reporting that in her inbox, she got this press release. That in her inbox, she got this
I really don't understand the
over from John
answer.
Cornyn, and he is confirming this as well via his X account. Cornyn, a senator from Texas, says, the FBI, Kash Patel, has responded to my request to assist state and local law enforcement to locate the runaway Texas House Democrats and investigate potential offenses. Ken Paxton's looking into Beto and George Soros, and so we'll see if they are implicated for bribery. But thank you, Director Patel, for your swift response and action. More officially from Cornyn,
nothing's going to happen.
He says, he announced the FBI has granted his request for the federal government to assist Texas in locating members of the Texas House of Representatives who have fled the state in a shameful attempt to thwart the legislative process. Some people might even say insurrect the government of Texas. I am proud to announce that Director Kash has approved this. We cannot allow them to avoid their duties and their requirements. Now, this was the letter that Kash ultimately got from Cornyn, United States Senator. He says, all right, Kash, listen, I'm writing to encourage you, the FBI, to take any appropriate steps to aid in Texas state law enforcement efforts to locate and arrest potential lawbreakers who have fled the state. As a maneuver to avoid legislative responsibilities, on August 3rd, many members in the Texas House absconded from the state. Their stated goal was to prevent the legislature from properly meeting in violation of their oath of office.
Yeah.
By leaving the state of Texas, these legislators intend to prevent the existence of a quorum in the Texas House. And without a quorum, no legislative activity can proceed, and we're insurrected. In a representative democracy, we resolve our differences by debating and voting, not by running away. Some Texas legislators have fled to New York, and others have fled to Illinois on Pritzker's bosom. Since these state legislators are currently outside of Texas, we need your help. Out-of-state actors have made public comments about protecting the legislators who are currently hiding, and I request your assistance to locate them and to see if they're operating in violation of the law. The FBI has tools to aid our state law enforcement people when these parties cross state lines, including to avoid testifying or fleeing the scene of a crime. So we know how this works. If you're a fleeing felon, the FBI doesn't just say, well, nothing we can do about you. So specifically, I am concerned that they may have accepted funds in order to avoid their legislative duties, which means they're getting paid in exchange for political action, which is bribery. This is public corruption, and this is a time-sensitive matter. The Texas legislature is currently in a special session called by Governor Abbott with around 2 weeks left. And as Abbott noted, when the governor calls a special session, the legislature shall meet. It's not a may. It's not optional. If you decide you like the agenda, well, we just like, climate change? Oh, sure, we'll go to that one. That's not how it works. It's not the movies. The absence of a quorum prevents key votes on important areas of concern for Texans, like getting flooded out. For example, the recent floods, which caused unbearable tragedy, is just one issue. So I'm encouraged by Governor Abbott. This is his strong leadership, but not Ken Paxton. He didn't put that in there, but he means that. Governor Abbott and Texas are doing what they can. And so these legislators have committed potential criminal acts. I urge you to work, Kash Patel and the FBI, with Texas to give them the support they need so they can go round up these fleeing Democrats from Texas. So Greg Abbott was out today, and he was speaking on this over at The First. And here is what he had to say about this from Texas.
Here's what we're doing. One is we have arrest warrants out for all of them. If there are some in Texas, which I understand that there may be, the Texas Department of Public Safety is searching for them. We'll find them, and we'll arrest them and take them to the Texas Capitol.
Nice.
Those who are out of state think that they are beyond the reach of Texas law enforcement, and that they may or may not be. But for one, when they come back, they're not going to go to their cozy home. They will be arrested and taken to the Capitol. But know this, it's my understanding that the FBI is going to search for these derelict Texas House members in whatever state they may be in and help identify for them and maybe work with us to bring them back. Point one. Point two is these Democrats, they have received money and benefits at their request to support them while they are gone. It is a direct violation of the Texas Constitution as well as Texas bribery laws for them to receive a benefit to skip a vote. They could be charged with second-degree felony.
I think that
for
could
committing bribery in the state of Texas. Third,
when he explains it that way, I mean,
I filed a petition.
I think it's possible that when he explains it that way, that it makes sense. It may very well be a violation. To skip a vote, but what about when lobbyists are lobbying to get you to vote a certain way then? Like, why would that be any different? Shouldn't that be wrong then? For them to get campaign donations to vote in a certain way?
In the Texas Supreme Court that begins the removal process.
We read it.
Of these absconding Democrat members. And the Supreme Court responded immediately last night and told the leading Democrat in this cause, his name is Gene Wu, that he has to respond to my petition by Friday, where we're going to begin the process of trying to remove these absconding Democrats from office.
Wow. So we got a threefold strategy, and we like what we're hearing here. including the arresting of these Democrats and hauling their butts right on back down to the Capitol, just like they're grounded. You can't leave. You're grounded for 2 weeks. Make them sit there. They don't have to do anything, okay? They just have to sit there and do their jobs. They don't even have to vote. All we need is their bodies, their warm bodies, which are basically, anyways, in the room. That's it. That's all we need. And so Greg Abbott is explaining that the Supreme Court has responded and said that they've got to get a response back in by tomorrow, and then they may just decide that they're vacant and vacated from their offices because they're not there doing their jobs. And it's basically an insurrection. Texas comes to a standstill because Democrat, the minority party, get to just leave. The whole state is frozen. What kind of law is that? I don't think the Supreme Court in Texas is going to look too kindly to that. So we've got Abbott now digging into it. We've got Beto, and let's not forget, okay, Fani Willis and Letitia James. Tish came after Trump, tried to bankrupt his entire business enterprise. 50 years of productivity gone was her attempt. Same thing with E. Jean Carroll. And they were filing these lawsuits based on no evidence, based on basically made up claims. Tish's was like, Trump got a good loan. His interest rates were too good. And he may have had a statement that said the property was bigger by 1,000 feet or whatever it was. And it's just, inconsequential crap. This is paying legislators to leave so that your entire government is frozen out and coming to a standstill. And apparently Beto is the one who's behind a lot of it. And now he's under investigation. And so you can see, we got Ken Paxton came out. He said, I just launched an investigation into Beto, his radical group, for unlawfully funding the runaway Democrats. And this is just the beginning because he's also going after the Soros folks. So Ken Paxton posted this. He says, hey, Beto, you're in big trouble. We're looking into your radical organization. It's called Powered by the People for an illegal finance and influence scheme. According to public reports, Beto's organization has been one of the top groups bankrolling the House-fleeing Democrat cowards who abandoned Texans and vacated their offices. By providing these liberal lawmakers with the funds to flee the state, Powered by the People, Beto, may have violated bribery laws. Now, Powered by the People and the runaway Democrats may have also violated other Texas laws and abused their office. And so we're asking for some emails and some documents. We want to look at their business records, because when Trump...
It will be interesting whether or not
his legal payments
they're going
to
to
his
go
lawyer
along
when he said legal expense, it wasn't actually that. They said it was a campaign expense, not a legal expense. So it was labeled wrong in the spreadsheet. And that was 34 counts of felonies. Remember? And then Hillary, when she was doing much worse than anything like that, they just gave her an FCC fine, like $100,000 for lying. And she said, what did she say? I think she said that her legal services were for the Steele dossier. Remember? Fusion GPS. That's legal services. It's not campaign oppositional research. No, she never got charged with 100 felonies for whatever she did. She got an FCC fine. So now if we're going to have these financial crimes that they'll just use as an attack vector against Trump, well, how the tables have turned. And now, hopefully, we've got an attorney general and a state set of leaders who are willing to use the same tools that the Democrats have used against the Republicans. Fani Willis
I really hate
indicted
for
like
that
19 Republicans, all of them, for just writing some letters, just for preparing a legal strategy. They didn't fund and bribe the legislature, the entire congressional body, to leave. Maybe they should have. Would that have been okay? So now we're taking a look at it. And Beto, man, he's in Beto trouble, that's for sure. So here is more. So also Soros is also getting hit. So this came out today from Ken. He says, all right, we're also launching an investigation into Texas Majority PAC, which is a radical PAC and bankrolled by George Soros, potentially because of their unlawful coordination and bribery of Democrat legislators who fled Texas to break quorum. Now, the Texas Majority PAC, the Soros org, was founded by former staffers of the failed gubernatorial candidate Beto. This dude's everywhere. Man, I don't know how he's going to do in prison. With a large radical donor base, the PAC is largely funded by billionaire Soros. This extremist group is part of a growing network of far-left organizations attempting to subvert the will of Texas voters. Reports indicate that they played a role in coordinating in assisting the illegal fundraising and potentially the bribery of the Texas Democrats. If Texas lawmakers are bowing to the Soros slush fund rather than the will of the voters, Texans deserve to know this, said Paxton. Getting financial payouts under the table to abandon your legislative duties is bribery. And their actions seem to indicate that it may be using Soros-funded resources to break the law and to fund the illegal abandonment of their public offices. Now, if that's the case as determined by our investigation, there will be a heavy price to pay. As part of this investigation, Paxton has issued a request to examine some of their documents, and we'll take a look at their spreadsheets and see how they look, see what those are for. It's legal expenses or campaign expenses or something like that. Oh, you're bribing legislators. Got it. This follows Paxton's previous investigation of Powered by the People. Beto is getting hit from multiple directions. So Attorney General Paxton has been dropping these press releases, and we're familiar with what's going on over there. But we've also seen Beto is responding. So Beto came out, and Ken Paxton, he said, Beto is scared of accountability. And Beto's now talking garbage on him, too, over on X. He says, you're investigating me? Paxton got impeached for bribery. He's going after folks trying to stop more theft of 5 congressional seats. It's not theft. It's operation of law. I encourage everyone to text FIGHT, he says, to some stupid number. Let's stop these thugs before they steal our country. Get out of here. You're trying to steal the legislature by sending them over to hang out with Bosom Pritzker. So then Paxton, he responded. He said, Beto O'Rourke is scared of accountability. No one's above the law. It's true. They told us that for 4 years. It's like seared into our brains. And any lawless liberal that took a bribe will face justice. He says, scared? If we stop the Texas steal and win the House, your guys' crimes and corruptions will be exposed for all to see. What? The girls traded with Epstein. Oh, gosh, he's going down that road. The bribes taken from foreign governments. And when he goes down, your corrupt, impeached, twice indicted butt is going down with him. Oh, it's getting hot over there in Texas. Hey, Beto, you're talking garbage to the Attorney General. And we'll see what happens here. So this is going to be fun. So Beto talking garbage. What's up, Benny Johnson over there? We got now one Texas Democrat. Her name is Jasmine Crockett. Well, the truth is coming out about Jasmine. Turns out she's all diva. No wow at all, which we already knew. Now, Trump critic Jasmine Crockett is a no-show.
I don't really.
This is according over.
I don't really care about her. If. And I mean, I feel like I still don't. I feel like it's still tough to say how this is going to go down when it actually comes to them voting on any of it, or on them enforcing any kind of law, enforcing the idea that they did anything illegal. I don't think anybody that I follow is currently doing a very good job of that. And I'm hoping, since Nate the lawyer moved to Texas, that he's going to do something. In fact, I'm just going to... He sees so much. I doubt I'll get an answer from him. But I'll see if I will. Oh, well, okay. Now here's some interesting news. I don't know for those of you that remember that when Gina Carano sued Disney, she apparently has come to an agreement. I have come to an agreement with Disney Lucasfilms, which I believe is the best outcome for all parties involved. I hope this brings some healing to the Force. I want to extend my deepest, most heartfelt gratitude to Elon Musk, a man I've never met who did this good Samaritan deed for me in funding my lawsuit. Thank you, Mr. Bucks and X, for backing my case and asking for nothing in return. To my lawyers at G. Sharon/Jeff, who walked me through this unknown territory, thank you for your wisdom and guidance. I am humbled and grateful to God for His love and grace in this outcome. I'd like to thank you all for your unrelenting support through my life and career, and you've been the heartbeat that's kept my story alive. I hope to make you all proud. I'm excited to flip the page, move on to the next chapter. My desires remain in the arts, which is where I hope you will join me. Yes, I'm smiling. From my heart to yours, Gina. There was a lot of people really looking forward to Discovery. I hadn't heard much. Wait, they look forward to... Disney said a legal dispute on fire. We look forward to identifying opportunities to work together in the future. Interesting! It's been said in a statement Friday divided the Walt Disney Company Lucasfilm. We're pleased to announce we've reached an agreement with Gina Carano to resolve the issue in our pending lawsuit against the companies. Ms. Carano was always well respected by her directors, co-star, and staff, and she worked hard to perfect her craft while treating her colleagues with kindness and respect. With this lawsuit concluded, we look forward to identifying opportunities to work together with Ms. Carano in the near future. Huh. Wow. You would want to get back in bed with them? I am interested. Next, and if you do indeed work in the future. Interesting. That would be interesting. Really, really interesting. Alright, so I was gonna... Yeah. Okay. Do you have a video planned to help us understand the Texas legislator Let's review on these. Why is Moses trending? What on earth? Lane dance competition? Okay. Well, I don't know why that's trending, but there you go. This right here is stupid. Just and a federal judge has temporarily halted any further construction of the immigration detention center known as Alligator Alcatraz, which I think is dumb. They shouldn't be blocking it. Should not be blocking it. All right. Well, let's. Give me a minute here to go to the restroom. Possibly get more to drink. Bye.